is going on, folks? Will Turban here. Fake Mike, real news. Whoa, I almost caught it. You see that one? It's still gonna be a good one. It's always good when I catch it, but I flung my ring off on that one. Oh my god! Good thing nobody was here. I'm a little excited today, guys. Please share this video. Wow. Okay, we're joined by Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, PhD. She's an activist. She's somebody that literally has put her life on the line and spent time in an Israeli jail years before this story was popular. So she's a political prisoner, presidential candidate. She's an author. She's got a whole bunch of dope books we're going to promote, and you guys are all going to buy them and give her a comment, let them know that the fakest of all, Michael, sent you. Maybe, guys, share this video if you're good, and maybe we'll get a couple comments. Cynthia, I put my best glasses on, and you outglassed me right
I
now.
love those glasses, by the way.
Thank you. And I'm just going to keep it at this. I don't want to make things awkward, but this is the first time I've interviewed a lot of really cool people. This is the first time I've ever interviewed. You guys know I've been talking about this interview for a long time. I've always wanted to get Cynthia McKinney, and she's been like the one person. There's a couple other people too, but she's like the one main person that I've always wanted to interview. Never got the chance, and she's still busy right now. She's a professor in Bangladesh, so we're going to keep this as short as humanly possible. But guys, get out this video, and we're going to support Cynthia. Cynthia, first of all, welcome, and thank you for allowing me to have this interview with you. Very much appreciated.
Thank you so much for your persistence.
Yes, if you guys don't know, I basically first I was like, "Dear Cynthia, I request an interview with you. Please allow me 15 minutes of your time. Sincerely, Will Turban." And then as the months went by, I was just I bought Ben Verified. I started reaching out to her next of kin, showing up at diners. I was like, "Hey Cynthia, when are we gonna get that interview, huh?" And so don't do that, guys. It's not a good approach. And as soon as this interview
is a good
was
approach
over,
because it worked.
And I promise you, Cynthia, as soon as this interview is over, the men with guns, they're going to leave your house. So don't worry about it. Everything is cool. All right. So we've got a lot of important things to discuss, but let's talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in the Carlyle Group. Let's start with that because that's what the kids want to hear, right?
Okay. I don't know if that's what the kids want to hear, but that's absolutely something that the kids need to hear. You know, I had my run-in with Carlyle Group. Oh my gosh. When was it? September 11th. And the tremendous profits that they made as a result of September 11th, and then found out that they basically took the place of Enron. So, you know, when Enron was the big corporation, the go-to corporation, basically what I discovered was that Enron was like a pass-through. It's like a vehicle for other things, sort of like what other companies have become today, you know, sort of the Hunter Biden pass-through companies, the pharmaceutical company, the bioweapons in research company that Hunter Biden had over in Ukraine, and sort of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That Enron was kind of like that because everything went through Enron. And so Carlyle Group is like this old line deep state, extremely deep state, people who lurk in the shadows, whose names you don't really know, but they are a factor in most of the decisions that are made, particularly pertaining to war and also communications, because it's my understanding that they have great real estate portfolio as well. And that real estate portfolio just happens to be where particular communications are made.
Yeah, and you know, you've got some famous connections there too, which we won't go back into. Anybody that doesn't know who Cynthia McKinney is, first of all, shame on you, and second of all, you'll have to. I'm gonna show you guys some of her early work, as we did many times here on this channel. But yeah, definitely take a look into the Carlyle Group if you folks aren't familiar. But yeah, how does that tie into Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
Well, it's my understanding that the Carlyle Group is a part of the what do they call that when entertainers have their what Michael Jackson had for the Beatles, that catalog
Yeah.
that the Taylor Swift catalog now is partly owned by the Carlyle Group. So that should serve as a warning to us to really understand what is happening now with, this tremendous deep state push. I've seen intelligence operations in the past. I saw the intelligence operation that resulted in the election, or should I say the selection of Sarkozy as the president in France. And because I just happened to be in Paris at the time, I think that was about 2007, prior to the also selection of Barack Obama, which also was like it struck me as intelligence operation. I went to some events because I was also running at the time on the Green Party ticket. And I went to some events and I saw things that I had never seen before. And, it just struck me as, oh, this is an intelligence operation. And it turned out that it was. When you dig back into Barack Obama's history, you understand that his grandparents and perhaps his parents as well were a part of the CIA. And that first job that he had that took him overseas to Pakistan, how did he get that? And it was, provided by Adnan Khashoggi. Well, I have some great ideas about how to move the United States forward, but Adnan Khashoggi never came to my rescue. It's just like Carlyle Group never came to my rescue. And then if you look at Kelsey and, that infamous, terrible, dastardly commercial that he does where he bares his shoulder and turns it around. That is absolutely disgusting. And anybody who would use a professional athlete, people who the exception is that they do their homework, like Aaron Rodgers, they, as their political leader and their medical advisor, their doctor is just outrageous. But here you've got Kelsey having been paid $20 million to promote Pfizer products. And so, I just happened to show my students the 75 pages that Pfizer didn't want the people to see. No, it was not 75, but it was 75 years that the FDA didn't want people to be able to see the Pfizer reports on what was happening as they were testing their so-called vaccine, their shot. I don't even call it a vaccine. And it's like 39 pages of poor health effects. So, no one should in their right mind take anything pushed by Pfizer. And yet you've got Travis Kelsey. So, it's like, I haven't really paid that much attention to questionable activities in football. I love football. I like to watch football games and that sort of thing. But it was when, I think it's the Miami Dolphins coach. Well, actually, he applied to be a coach, a head coach, and he didn't get it, a black man, and I can't remember his name. And he said that he was asked to ditch games, like lose games. And then I said, why wouldn't football be the same as politics? Because it's run by the same people. Then you can see that things are being shaved in football in exactly the same way that elections are shaved in politics.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell my friend, our friend Elijah, this for a while, and he doesn't want to hear it. He thinks we're all crazy, but there is an individual named Brian Toohey who I've interviewed, who is a former sports journalist who has went through the FBI files, and he has a couple books called The Fix Is In, and he's went
Mm.
through like a few examples. And then there's the famous 1929 Black Sox scandal, where in baseball they threw the World Series. And then you got Don King in boxing. You've got the 1988 UNLV running Rebel scandal, and then recently you have Brian Donaghy, a referee in the NBA, who went to jail for fixing these games. And to just add on to what you're saying, recently I grew up, before I found out all the horrible crap going on in this world. I was just a kid, and I grew up in Maryland, and I worshiped Cal Ripken Jr. I loved the Orioles, and so this year I kind of started watching baseball again, because I'll go see my grandma. She watches the Red Sox, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, oh, let's check out the Orioles, because sometimes I would actually like get a little too wild on this. I got too much into this stuff, and I need to take a break. I always made fun of the sports watchers, but every once in a while it's just cool to just let your mind fly on some other stuff. So recently,
The
the Orioles.
Miami Dolphins coach's name is Brian Flores. Just for your audience, so that we can fully document what it is that we're talking about and why we have the suspicions that we have, because there have been whistleblowers from inside, as you are pointing out, that have talked about how professional athletics is fixed. Well, we know politics is fixed. So if politics is fixed, then everything else can be fixed. And then when Trump said the system is rigged, well, you know what? The system is rigged. We have also rigged ourselves to accommodate or to perform within a rigged system. So we ourselves are rigged. And why wouldn't everything that we watch and participate in also be rigged? So we are seeing it. I think we're absolutely seeing it. So Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are being set up, and I can see Kelsey's brother is already retired. I can see Kelsey has already dropped hints about, well, I see, beyond being, life on the football field. And yeah, when the deep state is handing stuff to you, just like they handed how much was it? $60 million to Jeff Bezos. It was 60 million, or maybe, I don't know. It
I
was
think it
even
may
more
be
than that, because
600 million. I
it
forget, but
was
it was
600 million to Jeff Bezos so he could get the Washington Post. So now I call it the Washington Post is a CIA post, and not that the others aren't as well, but then and I don't buy from Whole Foods, because Whole Foods owned by the same folks, CIA Foods. So we've got to really wake up, because the matrix is engulfing us. It is everywhere, and we are immersed completely in it now.
Yeah. Okay. So two things. One is the Baltimore Orioles were just bought by a guy named David Rubenstein, who is a prominent player in the Carlyle Group. Interesting. And then you brought this up, and I wasn't even going to ask you this, but you mentioned with Barack Obama and how that was a CIA play. The way I have this theory, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this theory. My theory was, okay, thanks to the work of you, really, like heavily you, like mostly you, other people, sure, but mostly you, the Bush administration got exposed. Boom! Thanks to you exposing the 2.3 missing trillion and grilling
Yeah.
Rumsfeld. And you also were prophetic with DynCorp, because DynCorp, who got caught trafficking children with the Pentagon, also later we found out that Epstein shared a tail number, one of his planes, with DynCorp. So because people woke up under George Bush extremely quickly, my theory, can't back this up by anything, but I believe they were like, all right, let's put a cool, smooth-talking black dude in. That'll pacify him. Didn't work, thanks to your efforts and the efforts of other people. And then I think what they did is, then they said, all right, this is what we're going to do. The internet's rising. We're going to put Donald Trump in there. Donald Trump is a perfect person to, half the population could say, oh, well, he's not perfect, but he believes in America. And the other half could see him as literally Hitler. They love the divide and conquer, order out of chaos.
Yeah.
And then what they think they did is they created this new media. And they said, sure, you guys gave up on Fox, CNN a long time ago. We'll give you Alex Jones. We'll give you Tucker Carlson. We'll give you Andrew Tate. We'll give you Jordan Peterson, Elon Musk, all these other guys. What do you think about that? Because I just think that's what's going on, and I feel like there's a lot of people that were in the truth movement for a very long time, the so-called truth movement, that now like they're just Trumpers, and it's just like you can't knock that out of the head.
Well, Let me see. Let me begin to unpack that. Yeah, I don't think that Barack Obama was unsuccessful. I think a lot of people were tricked by the ploy of putting a black man up as president of the United States. I literally watched as he was given the speech a la John Fitzgerald Kennedy in Berlin, and the Berliners were literally crying. They thought that the United States had turned a page and had elected Martin Luther King Jr. The United States actually killed Martin Luther King Jr. So the idea of the U.S. actually electing MLK figure. But then if you look at the way he was portrayed, well, Barack Obama was Teddy Roosevelt. He was also Franklin Roosevelt. He was Abraham Lincoln. He was freeing the slaves. He was JFK. He was Ronald Reagan. I mean, he was everybody. Well, anybody who's everybody is nobody. And then some great investigative journalists like Wayne Madsen traveled over to Indonesia and got the goods on him and said, hey, this is a CIA guy. This is a CIA family. And folks, you'd better beware. But very few people heard Wayne's message. And I think people were tricked, and particularly the Black community was tricked. So you had some charlatans in the Black community who said, don't ask him any questions. Don't ask him any questions. I remember when Uhuru Movement, who is in the news now for other reasons, when Uhuru Movement said, hey, wait a minute. What about the Black community? Barack Obama was going all over the country and he was campaigning and doing everything. So my point is that people were tricked, and people were tricked for a very, very, very long time. And so much so that even with the stealing, when Donald Trump said fake news, he said the system is rigged. He said we got to drain the swamp. People were sick and tired of it because they truly believed under Barack Obama, and Barack Obama was a disaster. I think Barack Obama was the ultimate disaster. He put insurance companies, so-called Obamacare wasn't healthcare, it was insurance care. And of course, everyone knows that you pay your premium into the insurance company and then you try your best to get the money back when you need it, in terms of service. So no. The system is rigged, yes. Fake news, yes. Draining the swamp, yes. All of those are true and all of those are needed. However, Donald Trump didn't do it.
Totally agree. Donald Trump, honestly, and you say this, it's so funny because we started off 2016, and I'm not a left or right person. I'm personally a voluntarist. Thanks to your friend Adam Kokesh and the efforts of others, and that's who I'd love to see. That's my dream ticket right there. I don't care which position you guys get put in. I mean, yeah, let's do that. But that would be basically my idea. Is that Trump came in and he didn't drain the swamp, right? And we came into 2016 and the liberals were like, okay, I thought the liberals were a little out of their mind because they were overreacting to Trump, right? But now, over the years, I pointed out to Trumpers that, hey, he hired Wilbur Ross, Rothschild banker, who bailed him out in the 1980s, who he sent to Bilderberg, who was photographed the first time Jeffrey Epstein got out of jail, partying with him. Then he also, in those same photographs, hired Skull and Bones member Steve Mnuchin to head up the Treasury. Then he hired Alexander Acosta, former prosecutor for the Southern District of Florida, who gave Epstein the sweetheart deal, right? And then he hired William Barr, who had to recuse himself from Epstein. Then he hired his whole campaign manager was Steve Bannon, and Steve Bannon ran public relations for Epstein after he got arrested the second time. And he said he's going to drain the swamp. He starts meeting not with Cynthia McKinney, not with Dr. Ron Paul. No, No. Guess who he meets with? Henry Kissinger. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
and these people still are like, oh, drain the swamp. Get out of here. And Donald Trump. And I listened to the interview the other day where with David Icke and Alex Jones. And before David Icke came on and completely embarrassed Alex, uh, Alex is over here. If you guys got the chance, please donate to Trump. I'm like, yo, what happened to you, dude? What happened to you, dude? Okay, so I wanted to also talk about this
Further to that point, let me just interject here that your audience should listen to Amazing Polly, because your theory is exactly hers as well. And she calls names, which is very good. I mean, we need to start calling names about the creation of this I noticed they started talking about legacy media being the media that everyone has thrown away. And so now they have created the successor to the legacy media. And we have to be careful because social media can promote them. Well, I just put a thing up about Cenk Uygur, or however he pronounces his name, is a coward because nobody, you could do media, but nobody ever gave us $20 million, right? So that we could have a better platform. So we have to pay attention to where is that deep state money going? And once we understand that, then those people who are projected as our heroes are social media heroes, and that you need to be listening to, and they need to be your reference points. No, then we'll find our own or become our own.
That's why I'm here. Look, I mean, I don't want to be here. I'm not the best guy for this whatsoever, but I'm just waiting for the smarter people to get involved, the cooler people, the more credentialed people. Now, I also wanted to ask you about your trip to China.
Well, you certainly look good for not being there. I think those glasses and your shirt and your fake mic, oh my gosh, plus the beard is wonderful. It's wonderful.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Yeah, this is fake Mike. This is my logo right here, the fake Mike stuff.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm gonna go for a new look lately. I'm gonna start switching up. I'm gonna get back into suits. I'm gonna start dressing like the white Kevin Samuels soon, so people take me more seriously. I'm gonna do a full reversal, but that's in the future. Thank you so much, Cynthia. So you went to China, and right before the pandemic, and some could even say you maybe brought the damn thing back. Just kidding, but right. So, and you and somebody I also really admire, Elijah. Hopefully, he's run for governor again out here in Rhode Island. This upcoming.
My mother had a crush on him when we went to China. She said, "Oh, he's cute."
He's a cutie pie. I can see why. So, as not only. First of all, Americans in general, we don't know what the hell is going on past our own neighborhood, definitely not past the United States. We only hear things from the media, as we documented here and as you documented for many years, the control of the media in the CIA and in these corporations. You were able to go into China diplomatically, speak with people, ask questions. What were some of the things that you gleaned from that trip? What are some of the most crazy, interesting, and other things maybe you didn't expect? Highlights.
Well, as a delegation leader, I couldn't get into very much trouble, but you might want to have Elijah on your show and ask that same question to him. But the interesting thing is that we got our passports, our visas into China, and this was all, individually initiated. And we came together, 21 of us, 20 of us, 18 from the United States and 2 from the UK. And we all came together and we immersed ourselves in at that time, we were investigating. Trump had designated China as a genocide state. So we wanted to understand the truth of that. We started out in Beijing, And from Beijing, we went to Xi'an. From Xi'an, this is along the old Silk Road, Dunhuang, we went to Urumqi. And we lived in the Muslim quarters at every stop that we made. We ate the food that was prepared by Muslim families or Muslim restaurateurs. We lived in hotels owned by Muslims. So we were trying to understand the nature of the so-called genocide as declared by the Trump administration. Of course, we didn't see it and we didn't experience it, and we weren't harassed or anything. We could stop people off the streets. We could, randomly interview people in restaurants and say, okay, tell us, what is it like being a Muslim in China? And I think they probably would have answered very similarly to, what is it like being a Muslim in the United States? There was no difference. And in fact, while we were there, the whole scenario of coronavirus was unfolding, but we didn't know it. And we were glued to our televisions. We were glued to Chinese English language television. We were looking at the news every night. So, that was nowhere to be found. And then shortly after we left, China locked down, and then the whole world locked down. So the nature of the book that was published, we all were supposed to contribute a chapter to the book on the original theme, but I just unilaterally switched it, and that was how When China Sneezes was born. So I wanted to understand, it was clear that a political operation had been undertaken, but what exactly was the politics around this, and why did we experience this kind of politics like we had never experienced before on a global scale? And I remembered my father used to always say that HIV had a political agenda. So I thought about that and remembered that and said, okay, what's the political agenda around COVID-19? And so that's how When China Sneezes was born.
And you say you don't really prefer, but where are some of the best places for people to get your books? We have your website again here on screen. It's allthingscynthiamckinney.com. That's allthingscynthiamckinney.com. One more time, because that's just the best way for people to learn. That's why all the commercials say it 3 times. Allthingscynthiamckinney.com. It's on screen. It's in the comments, and it's also in the links in the description. You can find a whole plethora of information. I mean, there's interviews over there. There's ways that you can get involved. There's ways to donate, which I highly encourage you to do. Guys, as Cynthia will tell you, I broke my back to get this damn interview. So please support her. Make it worthwhile. Buy this amazing woman's books, and join. Even give a $5, $10, $20 donation, 150, 500, 7,000, over $9,000 if you're rich. Go ahead and do it, because we need your help. Honestly, I always say, and this woman is somebody that literally put her life on the line. She went twice. She basically took 2 ships, took medical supplies, she took food, she took toys, she took doctors, she took activists, and she was going to help the people in Gaza. And the people of Israel were like, hey, even though you're in international waters and you're trying to help people and there's no guns or anything, we're going to put you in prison. She put her life on the line, not once, but twice for you guys. The least you guys can do is send her some money and buy her damn book so you can learn something at the same time. Please do that, or else I will hunt you down like I did Cynthia for this interview, and it won't be pleasant, as Cynthia can tell you from firsthand experience.
So I'm glad that you're putting my website up there, because even though it needs desperate help, and so you
Cynthia, I'm going to help you with that.
offer. Okay, great. So that would be great to help me with the website. And basically now I use that website for teaching my courses, and those pages are hidden, and only my students have those pages. But I need to update it because for some reason, like I got a direct message from a Twitter person, an X person, and they were saying, 20 years ago, I was 20 years old, and I thought you were a kook, and I probably participated in my ouster from Congress as well, but didn't say that. And now I see that you were right and I was wrong. I get that all the time. I wish I had gotten a little bit more of it when I was there. Although when you are dealing with election theft, election fraud, is very little that you can do to stop it from happening, which is what happened with me. However, and I also spoke out about the dangers of the electronic voting machines and declared them a national security threat. But, now 20 years later, when I'm all the way in Asia, South Asia, now people are beginning to say, oh, yeah, she had a point.
Yeah, well, at least you're getting some thank yous. I'm glad that you do that because a lot of people
Yeah.
probably wouldn't do that, and a lot of people swallowing pride. So even the few that you get are emblematic of probably thousands more. And while we're still on the topic of China, I, I feel like in the maybe even before the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, Nixon, Kissinger, Rockefeller, they went in there, they opened up China. And now with the Belt and Road or the GRI or what I don't even know what the hell they call it anymore. It's a new
PRI.
acronym every week. Yeah.
Mhm.
But do you see that displacing the you know the United States as like the omnipower in the world? And have we already switched to China being that world leader? What's your take on the Belt and Road Initiative in general?
Well, it depends on exactly whom it is you are looking at for leadership. So, for example, if you are looking at the former colonies of the world, then I would say yes, they have gone through Western leadership long enough and they understand that that's a dead end for them. And resource extraction, human resource extraction, being the norm for the Western development model. So you look at China and they say, okay, well, they've lifted 400 million people out of poverty and they are helping us build the infrastructure that the West never helped us build. And you can go, as I've gone to many African states, and you can see convention centers built by the Chinese. You can see roads and transportation systems built by the Chinese. Whereas you can't find that in the former colonies built by the colonial masters. They didn't do that. Theirs was about extraction. And so China represents to that part of the world a different model. And now, if you want to talk about how China became what it is today, that's a different conversation because, of course, it was the Clinton administration that said dismantle all of our manufacturing plants and give a reward to the U.S. Corporations that go and establish themselves in China. So this was a direct policy that deprived people in the United States. I mean, many of my constituents, when I represented the old 11th district in the sewing factories, the cut and sew factories, the textile mills, they were put out of business. And uh, what happened to those people? They were left behind and forgotten. So you could look at that and you could say, okay, as China rose, you had this displaced this population whose employment opportunities were totally denied them, and So that was decided U.S. policy. I introduced a bill that denied a tax break to any corporation that just took advantage of that. But how you're going to offer a reward to people to leave the people of the United States in the dust. It's not very far from that to what we're seeing at the southern border. And now the ability to manipulate that is something that I am concerned about. The second book, you might want to put the Clarity Press link up that has all of my books on it, because then we could go through. The most recent book, of course, is the When China Sneezes book, which looks at the politics of COVID-19. And of course, in my chapter on genocide, I actually look at, which is a term that's being bandied about quite freely these days, I look at Operation Warp Speed, I look at DARPA, I look at less intensely than Whitney Webb in her chapter. She specifically looked at DARPA in their coronavirus research. But I looked at the eugenics history of the United States and the intentions of some people to reward a real genocide, and ask the question and answer it. Is it possible to create a virus or pathogen or whatever you would call it? Because I understand that the science on virology is not settled yet, that would target an individual person. The answer to that is yes. Is it possible to target an individual group of people? Yes, the answer to that is yes as well. And so we have SARS-1 that particularly targeted East Asians. You had MERS that is sort of the Arab bomb that targets the people of Arab descent. And then you had, I think it was H1N1. It's in my chapter, that basically afflicted Latin American people. And so what is it that SARS coronavirus 2 is able to target? Well, they're able to target everybody. Everybody. So SARS coronavirus 2, but then in the book prior to that was how the U.S. creates S-hole countries, taking off on what Donald Trump had to say about certain countries. And I basically posited that the undocumented immigration is a labor policy for the United States. If you want me to find it, and then I can I share my page? Can you share your page?
You absolutely can. I was having a little bit of difficulty on your website too. Earlier today and just now again, it's making me say like that I'm not a robot, but I'm also using a weird browser, so that may just be me too. So
what browser do you use?
Brave. It's the coolest browser
okay.
ever.
I use Brave too. I use Brave and I use Yandex. Let me see here. Let me find.
And while you do that, just everybody share the video. And if one of my moderators could just put it in the chat right now. Got it. We got it right here. Thank you, Tommy V. I just knew I had to look over and it would be there. Gosh darn it, this guy's good.
Thank goodness for
I'll put it in right here. Yeah, he's the best. And I know Cynthia is incredibly busy, and so if she got time for 3 more questions, and maybe if we guys got an awesome question for her in the chat that is super mind blowing, and she has time for it, cool. Let's do that. First, let's talk about the future. Do you have any insights on the future? I mean, just in general. It doesn't have to be anything particular. We're going to get your website up here, and I'm going to plead with everybody to go and buy this book. Literally, when we have different guests on, some of these people are authors. Some of these people are very esteemed. And a lot of these people have put their lives on the line, but very few of them have, like Cynthia McKinney, in the way that she's done it. I mean, she literally, even just her being in Congress alone and not taking the pledge to Israel. I mean, she's done it over and over and over, and physically put her life in in like missile and gun and bomb way, bro. Like she's way more
Yeah.
badass than all you pussy dudes out there. So at least buy a book and learn how to grow some balls, guys. All right. So yeah, what do you see? What do you, if you could look into the future? What do you might see happening for the world? Because to me, I'm the unflinching optimist of the movement, and it doesn't look super great.
It doesn't look great, but then it doesn't look. It doesn't have to be as bad. You know, I sat and I watched Cat Williams's,
Oh my
along with about
God, this
20
is like
million other people, his interview with I can't even remember that guy's name because
Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp.
yeah, I
Look at
don't,
this.
yeah.
Look at this,
So,
Cynthia. I
but
have this
I've
written
been
down. Cat
following.
Williams, right there.
Yeah,
Have it written down.
okay.
I love this woman. I'm so in love.
Yeah, and well, I love Cat Williams, right? Because he's been the truth
Same.
teller for a very long time.
Yes.
And I watched that, and something came over me that made me think that 2024 very well could be the
Yes.
year of the full truth, where we don't get half of the truth, we don't get, a quarter of the truth, we get the full truth. Now, will the full truth actually change people's behavior? Maybe in mass, not, but maybe for enough of us, maybe. And can we arrive at that elusive 25 to 30% critical mass that can have us to actually create something new and needed for this country? Maybe. So I am hoping that 2024 will be the year of the full truth.
You know what? I am the unflinching optimist, and I do think that it's the age of Aquarius. I think that no, I'm not a biblical person whatsoever, but I do think that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. So the New World Order can suck it for 2024. It's our year. All right. I got two more questions, and if anybody's got an awesome
Okay.
enough question, we'll get it. Power cells. Talk to the folks out here about power cells. If you got some time
Okay.
for power cells, because they're super cool.
Yeah. Okay. So the power cell idea was the idea of putting people in a room, sitting at the same table, very, very different people from all walks of life and from all political persuasions, and coming up with a set of problems and a doable set of solutions. And so I started doing my books as power cells, because somebody did an interview the other day and asked me, how do you get all these different people? Oh yeah. And so when China sneezes is a power cell. You'll find people from the so-called left, so-called right. I say now that I'm so far left that I have become right. It's just like, because the political underpinnings of the United States have shifted so much. We've had tectonic changes where it's hard to, even if those divisions were accurate, which I have some question about anyway, because divisions are created as a source of manipulation or as a methodology of manipulation. So when China sneezes is also one, but how the U.S. creates S-hole countries, that was my first power cell authorship. And so the contributors come from every political persuasion. But the one thing that they agree in is that it is U.S. foreign policy that negatively affects other countries. So you see people don't want to leave their homes. They don't want to leave their communities. They don't want to leave their countries. They don't want to leave their friends and families and go to some strange place there where they are probably going to be mistreated. They don't want to do that, especially if they're coming to the United States. They don't want to do that. But why are they doing that? What did they say? I think Guatemala is one of the main sources of the migrants in these caravans. Now, of course, I understand the manipulation. In my paper, The Purple Revolution, I talk about the weaponization of migration. But so you have this condition where they make the United States is supporting death squads in Guatemala, El Salvador, installing rogue governments that don't respect their own people, sort of like what we have now, and in the United States. So the United States was doing this, and people didn't have very much choice but to leave. Now, of course, we've got people being enticed to leave, and now you've got, sort of something else going on that also needs to be exposed. But the power cell is just bringing these diverse people together so that we can solve our common problems together as well.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because you got all these Christian right-wing people who just sat back and didn't say anything when their tax money, was supporting the death squads, the assassinations of democratically elected leaders, and U.S. fruit was going down there. And now these people, they just want to. I mean, yes, there is a part of it for sure they're doing it to undermine the United States. That's for sure going on too. But it's funny how these supposed Christians have God's militia against these migrants. I mean, and first of all, here at Fake Mike Real News, if you guys are just joining because Cynthia McKinney's here, and that's probably why you're joining, so that's awesome. What do we stand for here, Fake Mike Real News? Don't laugh that hard, Cynthia. We're trying to create a more altruistic world through nonviolence and the Socratic method. But it's funny how these right-wing Christians will take up arms against migrants. Meanwhile, when police officers kill 3 to 7 people a day, and when our troops have invaded every country except for 3 illegally, unconstitutionally, the thing they love the most, and even when their dear leader Donald Trump says he hates the Constitution. All right, enough about that. All right, and I hate you left-wing idiots too, just so you guys know.
I've got 2 minutes, right. So I got to give you a really short answer.
Last question: if you could have dinner with anybody besides a deceased relative or friend from history, who would it be and why?
Dinner from history with someone?
From anybody, as long as it's not a deceased relative or friend. Yeah, anybody.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't even give you an answer in 2 minutes. I got to think about that. That's a serious question.
All right, so hopefully I'm going to badger and stalk Cynthia McKinney, and she's going to give us an answer on the next time around. Cynthia McKinney, in all seriousness, thank you so much for everything that you have done for me in my life and all the people out there. Everybody go get these damn books. Share Cynthia's website. Support her in every way possible. Share this video. I'm going to take this video dead ass off YouTube. This is not fun for YouTube. We're going to keep it on Facebook. We're going to keep it on my website. So go get it over there. It'll be up for a day or two. Cynthia McKinney, thank you so much for your tireless work. I will be in communication with you. And I can let you know whatever around your time frame, whatever we can do. I can definitely spice up your website and make it 1,000 head doper. Anything you need, do not hesitate to reach out, Cynthia, and I hope you have a great evening. And I'm just going to come down here and just gloat for a little bit, okay? And I'll tell you what.
In the glow.
Yes, it's Saturday night, and I'm off of work, and I just interviewed Cynthia McKinney. Vegan taco celebration. Let's go.
Bye.
Bye, Cynthia. I love you. I love that woman. That is so awesome. Oh, my goodness. That is super, super cool. Okay, guys, so we did it. Let's go to the chat real quick. First and foremost, on screen in the description, books. Buy it. Who's buying a book? Who's sharing the website? If you don't have money to buy the book, there's no excuse not to share her website with all your friends and folks. Wow. 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 Hey, you guys want to see something fun? I'm gonna show you something fun. All right, hold on. I'm gonna add my friend to the stage. We get a special guest. It's me. Wow. 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 Cynthia McKinney. Whoa, we just did it. Oh yeah. Pyaw! Which guys? Okay. Which wheel do you guys like better, left wheel or right wheel? Oh my God, we just did it. We just interviewed Cynthia McKinney. That was awesome, guys. That was super cool. Wow, cool. Super cool. Okay, so I'm gonna shut off this. I'm like, I literally am genuinely stoked. She was kind of joking, but not joking about like, okay, bro, like, stop harassing me for this interview. I was like, hey, Cynthia, thought about that interview a little bit? Hey, Cynthia, you ever think about? In all seriousness, I'm gonna shut the hell up. I don't want to ruin this, but I'm genuinely super stoked. I literally have a crush on her. I literally love Cynthia McKinney. If you guys haven't, check out Cynthia McKinney Grills Donald Rumsfeld. Just do that, bro. Just do that, and you're gonna have a good Saturday. I love you guys. One last thing I have to ask you to do: share the video, share the video, share the video, share the video. Uh, share. Find me on Facebook. I'm gonna put my name on the screen so you can find me on Facebook, guys. Add me, and you can share the video there. I got a interesting spelled last name. Doxing myself right now. Put it on there. So find me on Facebook. Share the video there. Now, that's how you spell it. Links to Cynthia's website are in my description on YouTube. YouTube.com/fake Mike Real News. Get her website out. Get the books and leave her a comment letting her know that Fake Mike Real News sent you over there. Now I'm just gonna hang out and listen to some Taylor Swift and wait for the Super Bowl. In all seriousness, guys, I think I'm just gonna keep my good old snapback on. Keep giving you the raw stuff. I mean, whether it's G. Edward Griffin, whether it's Jordan Maxwell, whether it's Fritz Springmeier, whether it's John McAfee, whether it's Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece, whether it's America's #1 death investigator giving you the Epstein information and the COVID information. I mean, whether it's just me and Tommy V and a snapback and a fake mic and the whole crew, guys. I love you guys. Love you guys. Love you guys. Get the video out. Guys, have a great weekend. Peace.